I always thought it would be cool if you could go back and listen to the day-to-day of today's highest achievers as it happened, as opposed to 30 years later after they've made it. I believe there's a giant disconnect between ground zero and the top floor because we only see the top floor and the top floor only talks about the top. You know, how valuable would that be? And so it goes without saying, but I believe I'll make it there. And this is the documented journey through each level. My name is Bryson Sessions, and you are listening to the Bed Podcast. So I got two really brief topics for this one. So we're just going to dive right in. So the first one is, dude, I wish when people didn't know an answer to something, they would just say, hey, I don't know, man. You know, I wish that were the case. I wish people could just say that I don't know. And I think the reason why I have such a problem with that is because I say that shit all the time. If somebody asks me something, I'll say, I'm not sure, don't quote me on it, but blah, 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 maybe this, but I don't know. Or if I do know, I'll say, hey, this is the answer. And if I really don't know, I would just be like, I have no idea. You know, I'm not even going to pretend to know. I think that's an ego check an ego problem for a lot of people when you ask them a question, because it's almost like if they don't know the question or they don't know the answer to your question, then they might think that you perceive them as less than or not as smart or, you know, or maybe whatever. I ask a lot of questions at my job, a lot. And I always get an answer. And it seems like, I don't know, it just seems like the questions that I ask a lot of the time are questions that people either, one, don't understand because I'm not explaining well enough, which is my problem, or they understand it in a way, I guess, to where they understand it just enough, or I don't know. I don't even know what I'm fucking trying to say. I just ask a question and they don't know the answer, but to preserve their ego or to preserve their status of being higher than or more superior or smarter or whatever, they have to make up some bullshit. And I hate that, dude. I love when I can ask a question to somebody and they say, dude, don't know. I wish I did. I can find out for you, though. That's some good shit. I hate. And like I said, I think it's just because I'm not guilty of it. You know, I'm going to toot my own horn on this. If I don't know the answer to something, then I'm going to be like, I don't fucking know, dude. Anyway, that's the first one. Second one is, so as I record these, let's pull it up live. We can pull it up. I'm going to pull up the stats of the show as of April 11th, 9:51 p.m., 2024. So I'm going to pull up the stats, and I'm going to just kind of show you something here. So the last 10 episodes that I've recorded, so from 174 to 165 in order, from in descending order, here's how many plays I've gotten for each one in the last 10 episodes. So 174, I've had 3. 173, I've had 2. So I'm going to go down. 3, 2, 4, 3, 4, 2, 7, 5. That's how many listens I get per episode. I mean, I'll fucking say it again. 3, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4, 2, 7, 5. That's how many listens I get. And I say that because I'm not, so maybe somebody might see those numbers and they'd be like, wow, I'm 175 in, like them speaking. I'm 175 in. Holy shit. I only get 3 listens per show. What the fuck? You know, like they might get discouraged with that, or they might want to give up or quit because they're 175 episodes in and they are only getting 3 listens per show. So the way that I see this and the way that helps me is knowing that I'm making these for somebody who's going to listen in 12 years, in 20 years, whatever. I mean, even after 20 years is up, even after the long goal of 7305, I'm not just going to delete them. So hopefully people in 30 years listen to this shit. People who are not even born yet, who will be born in 10 years, who will then be 20 years old in 30 years might listen to this. So that's an interesting thought. So when I see it that way and I record these shows, if nobody listens to the next 2,000, that's okay, because I'm making it for the people that are going to listen in 15 years. And so when I have that frame of mind, I feel so much better about everything I'm doing, because if you think about it this way, if you think about 20 years later, I'll be on episode 7,305. If you really want to crunch numbers here, I'm not even 1/40th of the way there. You know, I'm not even 1/40th. Not even. And I've been doing this for almost 6 straight months. So, is it longer than that? No, we're good. It's almost, almost 6 straight months. And next week it will be. So 5 more days. So, I don't know, man. I just am not getting discouraged at all. I'm not feeling burnt out. I'm not feeling like, well, why am I doing this? You know, I don't feel that way at all. Okay, I'll be real with you. Lately, recording the show has been a little bit more challenging because I don't really know what to say. And I always say that and I figure something out, kind of like this one. But because I don't know what to talk about, I kind of push it off. And then it doesn't get done until later. And then that trickles into sleep. And then I have bad sleep. Or so I think. And then that trickles into the next day. And it's a domino effect. So, I don't know. Also, didn't do any kind of time blocking today. I actually had a lot of things pop up today that I was just kind of drowning in my room with a whole bunch. So I had to sign a whole bunch of more. What did I just say, dude? A whole bunch more papers for my lease because I changed the move-in date. Then I had to set up my gas and my electric, and in doing so, the page kept refreshing or whatever, and I kept having to restart. So that was awesome. Then I was going to email the supplement manufacturer and get a third sample going, but I just ended up not doing that. And then what else we got on this paper here? There is some additional taxes that I have to file for cryptocurrency. Did not know that, so whoops. And I have 4 days to do that. So then I had to record the podcast, which I'm doing now. Had to fix my renter's insurance and change the date. And you can't just change the date. You have to cancel the policy and then redo the whole thing. So I'm doing that. And they were closed, so I wasted some time doing that. So, but now I know for tomorrow, so we're good. And then, what was the other thing I had to do? New start date. I think that was it. But I wanted to work on some social media posts and shit like that. I wanted to get the samples going, give a good thought out email, stuff like that. I wanted to get shit like that going. And it didn't happen today, which is kind of frustrating. I mean, I did have a rough day today as far as stress goes. It was just very long and stressful. Just there's a certain task that's just very monotonous, and it's so stupid. But anyway, did that and got home, and I just my brain was fried. I just had to lay down, so I laid down, took about a half-hour nap, woke up, and then went and ate something, and then I pretty much started getting work done with getting my lease in order. And it just took longer than expected. And now here I am, it's 10 p.m. recording the podcast. And it's 10 p.m. because I work FedEx tomorrow. So I don't have to wake up until 7. So that's cool. So anyway, that's that. Quick recap, I guess. I hate when people ask or answer questions and they don't know. It's so much better if you just say, I don't know, man, I have no idea. Or, I just, whatever. And so, I didn't time block today. Then today was actually kind of stressful. So maybe there's really something to plan in your day out, huh? And then I'm pulling a brain fart, dude. What was I just talking about? That's crazy. All the shit I was doing. I'm recording all these for the person listening in 15 years, So I guess for somebody who might be doing this for short term, or trying to get an instant gain out of this, trying to get to a certain amount of listens to get ads running so they can make money. I honestly never think about that stuff. I never think about, okay, I need to get this many more listeners and then I can start running an ad and then maybe that ad will give me an extra $100 a month. I just don't think that, dude. And I never ever think about money anymore. I never think about, okay, I'm going to make this big product and it's going to explode. I'm going to have millions. I never think about that. Ever. The only thing I think about is making a product and making such a great service and experience that somebody wants to buy from me again. That's all I think about. I always think about how I can make the offer so exceptional and make it stand out from everybody else, And I'm learning about that through Alex Ramosi and $100 million offers. And that's good shit. So I'm just absorbing so much information right now. And I'm just trying to maximize the potential I have to absorb this information. So I'm trying so hard to sleep better, to get adequate amounts of sleep, to focus on not expending my energy on stupid shit, and I guess just associating with people who lift me up, And at the moment, that is virtually nobody. I don't talk to anybody ever. I mean, I could show you my text conversations. I never, and it's been that way for the last few years. And so maybe I've just grown accustomed to that, and it's given. Dude, can I speak right? It's given me a different kind of perspective. It's very peaceful when you don't have a lot of people demanding your attention. I heard this thing from Alex Hormozy today, and he was saying, or the other day, it doesn't matter, but he was saying something like, people get upset when you don't text them back, right? But take that to the extreme. So let's say you have a million people that message you, and so obviously you can't message a million people back. So you have to draw the line somewhere. So where's that line drawn? It doesn't matter where it's drawn. It's, I guess, for you. So even if you have a million people or 3 people, you can draw that line at 3 or at 1 or 50,000, whatever. And it is what it is, You don't owe the world shit. If they text you, you don't, So I love that, dude. I really do. I think that's such a great way of thinking. I think, so one of the things, actually, I'm going on a side tangent here, but I also kind of explain things in the extreme because it's easier to understand when you take an extreme example, and it's cool to hear somebody else say that they do a similar thing, somebody who you look up to. I always say that. It's cool when you're doing something, but then somebody you look up to does that same thing. It's like, holy shit, I'm on the right path. That's cool. So anyway, going back to what I was saying, all these are being recorded for somebody who's going to listen in 5, 10, 15, 20, even 30 years later. And so by me not getting the listens and the views and the feedback and the whatever now, I just don't think about that stuff. I don't think about, okay, I need to get 100 listens this week. I just don't. I don't give a fuck because none of this matters, and it won't matter for the next 20 years. If I'm at 20 years and I'm still doing this and I'm only getting 4 listens per episode, that's a problem. And what's a bigger problem is that I went that long knowing that I wasn't gaining any traction, and I wasn't gaining any traction for 20 straight years. That's a problem. But it's not going to happen, so I'm not worried about that. But I just think it's interesting how the whole shift in mentality happens when you stop focusing on money and you stop focusing on, I guess, material stuff. Don't get me wrong, still want a nice house, still want a Lamborghini, and I will have one. But I just don't even think about that stuff anymore. I'm looking at my vision board right now. The only things that I look at, right now are, I have 10 photos of family and relationship-esque photos. So I've got like a wife and kids, a wife and a daughter, a dad and a son, stuff like that. That's what I look at. And there's one below it. It's houses, and I don't really look at that one as much. And the one next to that one is a little supplement warehouse. Or it's just a warehouse with products in it. It's just a tiny little room. I'm talking in context of a warehouse. So maybe, I don't know, back room of a grocery store. So smaller. Then we have a whole studio with the soundproofing on the wall. We have a podcast studio. We've got a guy working on a laptop with boxes. We've got the outdoor roll-up doors because I'm going to have a little warehouse where I run business. So that's what I look at the most. But the photo that I look at the most is just the husband, wife, and the kids. I look at that one all the time. And I think the way that translates into what I'm doing now is I'm just focused on building. Yeah, end of sentence. I'm focused on building, and whatever things come of that, I guess that's I don't know. I guess that's a perk of what I'm into. So it's funny because in the past, when I focused on money and try to get the highest ticket sales and the highest incomes and the most blah blah blah, I wasn't focused on anything but that, and because I wasn't getting that. Because I wasn't focusing on what mattered, I was just unhappy as fuck. And so now that I'm not even thinking about the listens, the plays, the feedback, the clicks, the likes, the money, the income, I'm not thinking about anything like that. I'm just focused on how can I make a great product and make someone's day, have them have a great experience with my shit, That's really what I think about. Same with the podcast, of course I want people to listen to these all the time because I think I'm funny, but I think I have some kind of value to share. But if I don't, then don't waste your time, and I think that's fair. But in the future, I know it will be better, especially when I have this other show going with video and stuff. That'll be on YouTube, and that's a big stepping stone for me personally. So there's a lot of cool things coming up for sure, and I think a lot of it is just, I think it's just where you focus your attention. If I'm focused on money and I don't get money, then I'm probably going to be unhappy. But if I focus on literally doing, then any doing that I do gives me that fulfillment, I like to stay committed to this podcast thing I got going on. So every time I do it, I feel good. even though nobody listens. And I say I say nobody listens, but I mean, obviously we got some people listening, which is fucking cool. I mean, I have 435 all-time downloads, 172 in the last 30 days, 28 in the last 7, 5 yesterday. So like, cool. It's way cool. And I think maybe that's all I need. Because if I truly was at 0, not one person was listening, I think that would be more discouraging than it is now. But for context, I have 3 to 4, 3 to 7. So hold on. Let's just do some math. So there's actually, I didn't tell anybody about the first 100 episodes. So you take 435 divided by 174, because that's what's live. 2.5 listens per episode. So if you want to say that I have 3 listeners, I mean, I probably have like 8. I don't know. But if you want to say on average I have 2.5, we'll just say 3. I think that's enough for me to be like, oh, okay, so some people care, But then I look at the statistics here. I'm using Podbean for future reference here. So let's filter it for all time. So if I go to all time, I can see that 389 downloads have come from the US, 18 from Russia, 6 from St. Kitts and Nevis, 6 from Mexico, 3 from India, 2 from Australia, and then 1 from Brazil, Chile, United Kingdom, Liberia, Malaysia, Norway, Peru, Poland, Paraguay, and then 2 from Mars, because it says unknown. So the fact that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 countries and another planet listening to my shit, that's cool. I wouldn't say that alone gives me the courage to keep going. It's not even about courage. But I do think having the little bit of support so early on really helps me think that, okay, I've got a little bit of listeners, and I've only been going not even 1/40th of the entire time that I needed to go. Every year is 1/20th. Every decade is a half. So I'm going as fast as I can, man. But anyway, so all these episodes are being recorded for the person who listens in 18 years. So the fact that nobody listens now, it's okay. It's not discouraging at all. I don't think about that stuff. Dude, it's so fucking cool when you come to the realizations by yourself. You don't have to watch a video and have somebody tell you what to think. You just come to the conclusion by yourself. That's a cool thought. Or it's a cool feeling. I mean, hold on, let me backtrack. I don't watch a video and have somebody tell me what to think. I watch videos, gain insight, and then I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. How does that apply to me? And I kind of think it through. A lot of people do it way better than I do, and a lot of people don't even do that. A lot of people just take whatever they hear and they start running with it. I used to do that, and some things I think I still do. I'm being very aware of that. I'm trying to, I guess, mitigate that happening. So instead of hearing something that flows right with my beliefs and being like, oh yeah, it's true, he said it. I'm like, okay, well, he said it. What's that based off of? Was he selling something? Is he affiliated with another company? Are there studies about this? So yeah, I don't know. I just don't think about the things. I just think about the day to day, and that's what I'm doing. Like the intro says, I'm just a documentation of the day to day. What the fuck do I even say? It would be cool if you could see the day to day of today's highest achievers. I also don't like that I say day to day of today. Day to day today. Don't like that. Sounds dumb. Anyway, that's it. Also, so now it's a recap because I'm now done. So if you don't know the answer to something, say I don't know. It's okay. Fuck. And then number 2, all these episodes are being recorded for somebody who listens 10 years later, 18 years later, 37,000 years later. I don't give a shit. So that's what that's about. Okay, that's it. Talk to you guys later. Peace out. Hey, thanks for listening. And quick reminder here. So this podcast doesn't prioritize professionalism or quality at all. It's just meant to be a shoot from the hip type podcast with the intent just to get a quick message out. So some episodes might be inaudible in 30 seconds and others might be 45 minutes and super crisp sounding. So all these are being made so that by episode 7,305, which is 20 years, we can come back and see the entire playbook of how I made it to wherever I'm going. So thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.